The dedication on the bench simply read, "A cherished spot to sit a while and remember the good times." It seemed straightforward enough, but I was perplexed, so I sat. What are the good times? Sure, I can look back upon specific moments from my childhood that make me smile. Growing up on a farm and exploring the backcountry on horseback. Living in the Philippines for a year as an exchange student. Or performing with Phil Collins and Aerosmith at the MTV Europe Pop Show. These are all good times. But I struggle when I start to think closer to the present. Actually, the last 20 years. The breakup of a marriage that represents over 60% of your adult life prompts a lot of reflection. When we met, I had been perpetually single, and I decided that I needed a comedic intervention. Toastmasters contest season was just heating up, and I plotted to write a humorous speech about how to find a mate. At the time, I was working as an employment counselor, so I thought, why not conduct my love search the same way I coached my clients to conduct their job search? I would network, I would cold call potential applicants, and then I would interview them. So, tell me about your past experience. Any special skills that you'd like to share? Then I would call their exes as references. What would you say are his weaknesses? Would you hire him back if you had the chance? This became the premise of my speech, and I managed to win my way to the district final. There were 500 people in the audience that night, and after my speech, I had 5 applicants for the job. My husband was the successful candidate. We were together for 18 years when it ended. Being alone after so long is enlightening. The silence is deafening. It becomes very easy to isolate yourself. I started asking myself, have you talked to a human today? And then I would just get in my car and go to the mall and shop for nothing but a connection. The first year was the hardest in my journey of rediscovery. I started to try new things, ukulele classes, salsa classes, Spanish classes, just getting out in the world, even when I didn't want to. I discovered that concerts were a great way to be out without being obviously alone. Everyone's focused on the band, not the blonde sitting by herself. I went to 78 concerts the first year. I went to Croatia on my own and learned to embrace the solitude of discovery. I went to Cuba on my own and learned to embrace the appreciation that Cuban men have for blonde women with curves. I even found my way back to Toastmasters. I'm well through it now. I've moved on. There's no pining, no longing for the past. I'm happy, actually in a better place than I've been for a long time. But that bench made me realize that I hadn't reconciled. How do I look back upon all our trips and adventures with fondness? I'm sure it just takes time, but I don't know how to view my past. I don't want to erase it. It existed. I'm trying hard to learn from it and to remember that it brought me to this moment and to my next adventure. In the midst of it, my ex's view was, we had an amazing marriage. You're an incredible woman. We had the time of our lives. I just need to move on now. But for me, all those good times that certainly seemed good at the time were now tainted. It was like looking back through a filter of knowledge, a filter of what I know now that I didn't know then. And I struggle to explain it. I struggle, but I know I'm not alone. Even without a divorce or major life event, so many people look to the past with sadness that it's past, that they can't go back to the good old days, that times have changed. Bob Marley once said, The good times are the sad thoughts of tomorrow. Why do we give them so much power? I mean, the past is just the past. It informs the future, but it doesn't determine it. Ideally, you learn from all those good and tough times. The past is like a playing field. You can run the tape and watch your performance with the goal of always improving. I've played the tape of my marriage. I watched my performance. I didn't cheat, and I didn't make the decision to go. But I was there. I contributed. There are things I did right, and there are things I'll do differently next time. And I'm committed to doing that for me and my next partner. But as Wayne Dyer said, the wake doesn't drive the boat. It's just the trail you leave behind. My past is my past, and there are good times that I may eventually be able to look upon as good again. And there are bad times that I'm working very hard to learn from to improve my today. These are the lessons we take with us. We have to remember that every moment is a choice. You have a choice every second to react how you always have or how you wish you had. You can choose to give or to take, to love or to hate, to be kind or to be indifferent, to feel gratitude or to feel resentment. And all those choices matter. I didn't have a choice when he decided to go, but I own all the choices now. So I sat on that bench and I started to appreciate that moment, sitting by the ocean, nature, the sound of kids playing, happiness, families walking together, community, couples holding hands, hope. I realized that perhaps this was the good time that the bench was referring to. The good time is now. The good time is this moment. So let's choose to embrace this moment and this good time. Madam Chair.